I would really not want to be a competitor of ours that have raised like, millions of dollars with a VC, because I really cannot imagine how they are able to go and do 100x or 1000x exit in those market conditions. Hey, yeah, looks great, but if I needed that, I would build it myself. Okay, this one came quite a lot. Just feel like once I get this red flag of it's AI written, I stop reading. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person that has this like AI radar.
I do the same. When I see an AI written article, post, whatever, I go, that's shit.
People are doing that too. They are discounting your brand when they see this, and they like start to distrust you. I think at least I am doing this.
Hey there, welcome to Sounds Good, and welcome, Antoine. Good to see you back.
Thanks, Anna. Thanks a lot for having me.
I say good to see you back just because, like, for me, you're just coming to talk to me like every other quarter, it feels like. We have this pulse surveys on what's going on with SaaS and what's going on with you. And if you haven't heard any, Antoine is actually a serial founder. So he's sold a couple of companies and now is growing, building Fernand, which is a customer support tool. But
That's right.
you're better than me at promoting yourself. So maybe quickly, what's Fernand?
So Fernand is the customer support tool for founders that do their own support. So we were experiencing that pain point of like trying to use 100 million tools to do the same thing, and they were all not quite designed and built for our use case, which is, like low volume of conversations, but we want really high touch, white glove concierge. Like we know all of our customers by name almost, and we know like who they are. And we really needed a platform that had that built in, as in like we don't have customer support reps 8 hours a day responding to customers and trying to like deflect a huge volume. It's more like, how can we empower you to grow your SaaS through customer support by like empowering you to have better conversation with your customers when they need it the most, which is usually like when they have a pain or experiencing a problem or like requesting a new feature, etc. And so we've built this customer support tool a little bit like Superhuman, if you know that for email. It's session based, so you only log in like 2, 3, 4 times a day, and then it remembers what you did in your previous session, and it takes you by the hand to like take actions towards inbox zero. And now we are rebuilding it almost like completely, or like adding a new layer, an AI layer, an agentic layer that helps you kind of auto triage all of your conversation, suggest action. So like, yeah, I think you should refund that customer. But do you want to do it? Yes, no, and have that human in the loop system. So
Yeah.
really trying to fully embrace that, but keeping this opinionated thing that we are for like SMBs, SaaS, mostly founders that want to skyrocket their growth through better conversation, better human connection.
Awesome. All right. Well, first of all, obviously, once you said we're rebuilding it, I was like, with AI, say it's with AI, and obviously it is, because I mean everyone's doing it. And while you were talking, I was also thinking, a lot of conversations here start with, "Hey, we didn't like something, and we just built it for ourselves," and I kept thinking, okay, it's the same story over and over and over again. And it kind of connected and clicked for me very recently is that, I've been hearing that lots of folks now say, don't try to reinvent the wheel, right? Just try to build something that's already there, but shitty or shitty for you. Chances are there are other people who think the same way. So you're going to basically just be serving them a lot better. And I think it's a super cool thing to do. Like, I mean, why don't we all go and search for crappy websites out there that are not so good to use? But now, you are you started as intentionally for founders and intentionally, you use the word yourself, like opinionated, right? Calmer growth, more sustainable. I mean,
Mhm.
you shared some of the things you did like last year with your postman story at OMR. OMR is a marketing conference in Germany. And now, I mean, I think it's obvious and it's kind of, there is no way around it, but you are starting to add AI, or, AI was there, but you're starting to talk about this. And I wonder, if old ways, if, being opinionated and being just a good tool that does the job, does it for customers still, or people want to see a bit of the shine of the AI, even if it's just
Yep.
marketing copy.
So it's quite funny, but none of our customers really ask for what we are building at the moment. So I think it's a little bit like, that typical story of they wanted faster horses kind of thing. So at the moment, we do have AI. Like you can generate replies based on your own system prompt and like your AI training corpus. You can upload documents, create your website, whatever. And then when you are replying to a customer, you can draft replies with AI. We also have an AI chat agent that you can like plug onto your support widget or live chat, and it will like do front of house support, like answer question, do transfer to the team when something needs to get a human involved. So we did have some features, but I think we have all seen that in the last 4, 5, maybe 6 months, um, the modals and the AI harnessing and all of this like became so much better that actually now I am personally convinced it can do like 90% of the work for us, as in not really taking decisions and like responding to your customers like from A to Z until you implement a new feature for them with an AI coding agent without saying anything. No, I don't think so. But like actually doing all of the grunt work of like, what is this customer state of mind at the moment right now? What is it that we should like reassure them with? And like, what is the next action that is likely to be the right action to take? And I think what I've been seeing more is we've built this whole moat about our UI being so much better than others, right? Like it's minimalistic, it's like really subtle, had a lot of like nice interactions. We take a lot of pride into having a composer where you can, like have syntax highlighting when you paste code, because we had a lot of very technical founders like helping people with API problems and stuff. And all of this, absolutely all of this is becoming irrelevant when you're using Claude Cowork or like even a CLI tool in your terminal to handle your customer support. And so we have a customer that is saying like, oh, I'm not using the interface anymore at all. I'm just using your API. And so you are like an orchestration layer, and Claude is doing all of what we are building in the UI at the moment. Um, and so mine is like, I think they are just early adopters, but everything is going to tend towards this. I also think that our ICP is a little bit difficult to deal with because they are very cost conscious and they will not want to have us add like a 10x markup on their tokens that they're spending, right? So they will want to hook into our API and use the agents that they're already paying for. Is it like maybe Codex or Claude or even ChatGPT or whatever? Um, and so I think we are in this weird middle ground where we could add more UI, and wrap this nicely for a portion of customers. But some other customer will just be like, no, just, like handle my emails in the entry, and like speed out answers into the other thing. And so what they will get the most value of is having everything centralized on Fernand, but not anymore the UI portion, which was our entire moat. And so this is what I'm struggling at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we need more UI or if we need less UI.
What's your prediction? Like, because you've been saying exactly what I've been thinking about for the last several months, right? And I had other conversations with founders that are as concerned. So basically, yes, okay, we all use AI. It's amazing. It does the tasks, and great. Who argues with that? But the thing is, I think it's because I'm coming from an M&A company, right? We did lots of technical due diligence, lots of commercial due diligence, and reliance on a third party tool or API or platform, whatever, it was always a red flag.
Mhm.
And now hearing everyone say, oh, my entire operation is in Claude, or my, everything that's been written in the last 6 months is written by Claude,
Yep.
and or choose another LLM. Um, and I'm thinking, okay, why are we so blinded by this? And what if it, remember Twitter, right? All the companies, especially the bootstrap ones that use Twitter API, eventually hit what was it, $42,000 per month or something,
Mhm.
when they bumped the price, and they
Yep.
basically ceased to exist. So, what do you think about that? Like, this reliance, how do you approach it, and what's your prediction on this?
I think you have two hypotheses in the world at the moment, which is first, the AI models that we see at the moment by these like big companies, Anthropic, OpenAI, XAI, Google even, they are all subsidized heavily, and they are costing in reality, like in compute price and inference price, much more than what we are paying for them. And so you have the hypothesis that say, well, it's fine because eventually the models will be leaner. We don't need to use so much tokens for the same output or outcome. And eventually you would be spending less tokens for the same price. So no one cares. The other hypothesis is that, well, at some point it's like the Uber play, right? Like Uber comes into a market with super slash price. They kill all taxis and stuff. And then they suddenly like increase their prices more and more once they have the adoption. Um, and that could happen as well. And honestly, I have no idea which scenario is the most likely. I would say though, I would really not want to be a competitor of ours that have raised like, millions of dollars with a VC, because I really cannot imagine how they are able to go and do 100x or 1000x exit in those market conditions. Like, even because of us, because like a small 2-person bootstrap company can literally have the same feature set, can have almost like more velocity into adapting those things. So for example, OpenAI just released this voice AI model that can do actions, so like based on your UI and stuff. Honestly, we could implement that in a week or so. Whereas a more established, maybe like 50, 100-person company that is already like the market challenger and the modern cool new thing compared to the established players would already struggle doing this because they have SOC 2 compliance, they have all this thing that they need to like brain check before. The customers don't really care about this. So I think for our audience, for our ICP of SMBs, it's going to be a brutal market more and more. And most companies that have raised money will just completely go even more all in on enterprise and trying to go like white glove enterprise, almost like being service companies, like forward deploy engineers, like developing custom built solutions for each enterprise company and like trying to sign 5-6 figure deals for them. But I don't think they are going to be really successful doing self-service, like volume plays, like what we're trying to do. So that's just my take.
Okay.
But again, I have zero idea what is the thing. And honestly, in the like 10, 15 years that I've been doing SaaS, this is the first time that this happened. And we had like different trends, like um, the switch to cloud, the switch to, many things. But this is the first very uncertain time um, that I'm
Yeah.
personally experiencing.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating, right? Like we've been through lots of like this is dead and that is dead, and now we adapt, and but it was never like this of a boom, like a mass hysteria, like oh my god, what is going on?
Mm,
But it's great that you started kind of this. In this direction where VC companies or VC funded companies kind of versus bootstrap players, right? And I'm totally against kind of, butting their heads against each other. But we also had this conversation with Mike Hill very recently where we were talking about distribution, right? So distribution discovery, right? Like how to be in AI search engines, right? Because as a bootstrapped company, yes, you might have been winning with SEO, and you might have
mm,
found your own little niche where in the top best tools for bootstrap companies, Fernand is somewhere there, one of them. Um, but VC funded companies have a lot more budget, or budget for AI visibility. So we even had this, kind of a rhetorical question. We couldn't obviously find an answer to it. If maybe, we are kind of coming back to VC pitch deck era, because otherwise it is getting more complicated and more expensive to get out there. Because, like you said, UI is no longer a moat, product is no longer a moat. So distribution is something that you have to yes, distribution
yeah.
is something that you have to really work on. So yeah, what do you think about that? What changed there?
Yeah, I think absolutely. Like, so for example, our mode was we are two super technical founders that kind of still understand a bit marketing, a bit strategy, and like copywriting, whatever. And so we could always be, I think, operating at like, what you say, 10x individual contributors, which makes great founders too. And I think that was our fabric, our thing. I even wanted to call our like holding company something around craft, like woodworkers, like I really see this metaphor in my head of my co-founder and I being like this little craft store that just you bring your violin or something and we'll make a new violin out of this, or like we'll fix it. Compared to bigger powerhouses, there's like a factory with 1,000 workers and you're like working in that chain assembly line.
Doing shitty
Um,
ukuleles.
exactly, but cheaper and a lot more. Um, so yeah, this whole idea of craft, and I think now, exactly as you said, like this whole field has been leveled or is being leveled. Although I've also vibe coded a lot of things, and like you don't really quite get to that thing yet. So I think there is still a gap, but that gap is you need to be 100x designer, 100x engineer, and not like 10x is not enough anymore, right? Like you need to be like so much better, so much more craft, and like understand the entire 360 of everything that you do. So, um, yeah, like there is still a tiny, tiny, tiny thing when it comes to the hard skill of like building, but then I think you nailed it. Distribution is the main is the thing, and that's that's still what we're struggling with. So I've tried everything. We're trying Google Ads. We're trying ads, like, like social, YouTube, newsletter, sponsoring, all this kind of like posts on LinkedIn with like large audiences and stuff. Honestly, nothing is working. And we've tried different things, right? Like, it's not that one thing hasn't worked and it's like, oh, maybe that source was just not the right thing. I think there is just so much noise, especially in our industry, right? Customer support. There is like literally a new tool coming out every day. And the very first thing they do is exactly what you said. Like, they're just spending marketing budget to get their name out there and known. And they have like super polished demo videos and stuff. And then you use the product, like, whoa, I cannot reset my password. Like, what the hell? But yeah, I think you're right. Like, that's a potential hypothesis of like, there is no way to bootstrap something anymore without like having $1 million that you can spend on distribution. I think still there is these two personas, right? Like the people that we are selling to, founders of like 5, maximum 10 people company, mostly bootstrapped. They are builders. They just want to get their thing done. They are looking for a solution to a very actual, real problem that they are experiencing themselves. And then you have the bigger companies, so to say, that are maybe like that get venture funding, and they are more into like SOPs, processes, empowering like an employee to make a purchase decision. And then it's like this motto of saying like, no one got fired for, buying IBM. And I think that's really applying to this new AI era, right? Like, imagine someone going into like a big VC funded company and saying, we are going to use this obscure bootstrapped SaaS that doesn't have ISO SOC 2 compliance. Their website was unupdated for like 3 years and stuff. Like, it was not flying before and it's not gonna fly now. And I think you need to make it look sexy. Also, one last thing, in our industry, there's so many VCs trying to get into the what's the next iteration of customer support tooling, that all of their VC have their champions. And so when you are a company that is, let's say, with Lightspeed, with Benchmark, with Index Ventures, with Sequoia or whatever, then you will likely use the one that they're also backing, right? So there is this kind of like synergy friendly play. And it's so funny because I can see in our competitors the one that they're backed with, and then you go on the I'd say like the investor website, and all the customers that they have listed on their landing page is the same ones that they have on their portfolio. So it just makes sense. It's like like playing with each other, but it's still very much siloed.
Yeah.
So again, I don't have the answer to this. I'm just thinking some people are going to die very likely in the next year or so.
So, I would love to ask you what you would spend your millions on if you if you got the investment. But before we go there, the podcast is called Sounds Good, right? And I want to
Yeah.
ask you about something that you did that on paper sounds really really good, and I was talking to Claude about it, and you know what Claude said? Don't let him frame it as a learning. Push harder. so, so I will. I'm sorry.
Totally fine. I can share a terrible thing that
I'm
absolutely
gonna.
didn't work.
Yeah. So this cold email that you automated that you thought was an amazing idea. Tell us more about this.
Yeah, so we prepped this episode a little bit, and I was just telling you this. And since then, I'm still thinking, oh my God, why is this thing not working? Like, in my head, it's just so smart. I'm like, Antoine, you're genius. Oh my God, it's going to be so good. I'm going to change that industry completely. So what I've done is we have a feature on Fernand that, most of our competitors have, but isn't as straightforward, which is adding context to a customer conversation on the sidebar. So you want your customers to be able to see, or you want to be able to visualize your customer data when it's needed. So if your customer writes you about, hey, my API isn't working, or like I'm getting restricted because blah, 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 you see in the sidebar, or you're able to see if you use the custom data feature, like how many credits do they have, what plan they are on, whatever actions they've done last. Any data that you want to visualize, you can hook to a custom API endpoint and bring it to the sidebar. And so I wanted to try doing cold emailing to our ICP, but doing it a little bit more smart and different than just writing, hey, do you want to use our tool? It's great. And so what I've done is I've did like a system using N8N where I completely automated the step of like scrapping directories like product items, etc., getting people's like contact information, email and stuff using hunter.io. And then this is where genius comes from, like the genius part, or so I thought, was I would then generate a screenshot of how their Fernand inbox would look like with custom data that I would infer from their product. So for example, if you, I don't know, let's take Vercel. If I would go and pitch to Vercel, which is not really an ICP, but whatever, they would be able to see like which domains they've headed to Vercel, like what's the bandwidth that they've used, etc. And AI would do this custom data for me, would produce an HTML that works for Vercel, inject it into an HTML template that I've had, and then render it as an image. And I would then use this image, put it into an email and say, hey, I've worked a little bit to see and like visualize how your custom data would look like on Fernand. This is a feature we have to like add some context. Really like 2 lines, bam, screenshot in there. And then I would help you to implement that for free if you want to chat or something like this. And I was so proud of it. I'm like, oh my God, if I receive an email like this with my data, like has my logo in there and like actual context and data, I thought, boom, I'm really like going to have a ton of signups and demo requests and stuff. And actually what I got back was, hey, yeah, looks great, but if I needed that, I would build it myself. Like I would build your entire tool myself. Okay, this one came quite a lot. The other thing I got was like, oh, this looks great, but you know what? I don't have any customers, so I don't really have a customer support problem. And this was a big one, actually. Like I was really surprised how many people say, I have 0 revenue. I have 0 users. I'm just out there trying so hard to distribute my tool. But you're selling me a solution to a problem I don't have. So thank you so much. I think it's great. I'll remember it for later. But I think most of these people, their product will die anyway. And so, yeah, those 2 reactions were like, God. Then I thought, you know who it would be better to sell to? Enterprise. But I'm like, oh, we're not really set up for this. This is not our ICP. Like we would
Yeah.
need a lot of more stepping stone, a lot of like different feature set. And like maybe we even need investment to go and get those compliance things and like whatever. And so I really felt like, oh, damn, that looked really good on paper. And I thought it would be so smart. Also, I never really received a cold email that was that like optimized or customized.
Personalized.
And I thought I
Mm.
would be like having this aha moment with people much more than I did. And so I've sent, I don't know, probably I didn't send quite enough, but maybe like 2,000, 3,000 or so people cold emailing, listening to this would be like, I sent this in a day.
Exactly.
So yeah, but I
I send
still
it with
thought there was
AI in 15 minutes.
yeah. Oh, my AI agents would do that. But yeah, for me, it was like a learning about our audience and what the market wants. And really, like, there is no way to cheat. You just see the answers coming in, or actually, like, people not responding to you. I also had a whole mechanism to be like, if they have not responded after 3 days, I just rebump them with like, hey, have you seen my thing? It's in the image below, scroll, whatever. And like, I got responses. So it was hitting people's inboxes. I couldn't even hide behind like, oh, they haven't seen it, like deliverability, I should have fixed it differently. No, they have seen it, but it was just like not resonating with them. So
Yeah.
another learning that came from this, and I know you shouldn't say learnings, but like I'm trying to see what can I do after this, is I think the custom data pitch was maybe not wow enough. It was like, oh, it's nice, but like they kind of expect to be able to do this anyway. Whereas if I would pitch them, I don't know, like our new AI agent, where like you review conversation one by one, and the agent says, you should refund, you should move on, this is a newsletter, just mark as spam. Da, da. Maybe that would work better. I don't know, but yeah, that was the
Yeah.
sounds good moment for me.
But like you said, it could be a great learning because like, yeah, you just, try the same with a bit of a shinier promise or a bit of a shinier, more enriched, let's say, a screenshot where they can see a lot more what they can do. Because basically we started partnering with a company that is doing reputation management, and what they did, and I know that that's probably not the case, not applicable to you 100%, but they would already have a company on the platform, and all you need to do is basically just kind of come and claim it, right? And this and
Mm,
this and that is already set up for you, and we don't have the actual data, so it's kind of like dummy data, blah blah, but you can see how it could look like for you. And if that's valuable, no strings attached, go and claim it. And then, they're asking for a payment. So maybe that kind of more of a, oh, you don't even have to do anything. We already did it for you.
mm.
That could be something.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think that's also what prompted us to redo entire onboarding setup after this, because we thought we need to remove every friction point as possible before you needed to validate some DNS changes at the domain level to be able to use Fernand. And we thought, that's annoying, but that's quite okay, because once you've done this hard part, you are like set and we're not bothering you with any config changes or whatever. But people want to try and receive their first email and get it before they are like even considering changing anything, which is makes a lot of sense. It's like asking a girl on a first date, hey, do you want to marry me? Change your name to mine. And
Yes.
so, yeah, that was a learning for sure. But like in general, I think the pricing might be also something we will change or we should change. Like I really didn't want to have a free plan for many. I think I'm traumatized for so many things past with my past tools. Also, like the general consensus, if you look at X or X Twitter, people say kill your free plan. Like you don't you don't want to have a free plan. But I think for our ICP, a free plan is very reassuring to prove like the value, and then when they feel they are limited by the free plan, they are much more likely to upgrade. um but like a lot of people told me, no, why, like I could use this tool that have a free plan, right? Like why should I even bother, because you have that one extra feature that maybe is a little nicer. No, I'm going with the free tier. And then you talk
Yeah.
to them or you look at them 6 months after, and like they are paying 2 or 3 times the price that they would have paid with our pricing model, because they eventually grew out of the free plan on that platform and they needed the I don't know, like the Twitter extension that cost like $50 a month, and then they needed the AI agent that was like a dollar per resolution, and and so it's
Yeah.
quite funny. And I think we might need to experiment with a free tier, although I'm really dreading that moment.
Yeah, I had a conversation recently with the CEO who joined the company later, right? I think after
Mhm.
$10 million in ARR. But basically, he's still, with all that kind of knowledge and experience under his belt, he said, if you're launching something, I would not ever go with we're cheaper. I would I think that's exactly what he said. I would let them beat me up to become cheaper, but never offer a cheaper option. So I think, with the free, especially now, the main concern should be like how much it hurts you, right? Because there were a lot of episodes where founders told me how they dreaded the change in pricing, and then they doubled it and they doubled it again without pretty much losing anybody.
Mhm.
Because, hey, like, even if the product is not that's sticky, right? And we like to talk about stickiness. It's still, it's still finding a new product and then learning a new product and then, figuring out what you like and dislike. And if, the UI, UX, whatever you love as much as the previous one. So the cost is actually a lot more. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's
No
less about
advice here.
being cheaper. It's more for me about like almost offering an unlimited trial. The way I see it, now we have a 14 days trial. What if this trial was unlimited, but like every message that you write to customer has like a send via Fernand at the bottom, And so it's like you can get the value and you can start using it without like feeling that you are limited in time. So you can invest into learning the tool. And once you're ready, then you upgrade. So this is more how I see it versus like lowering the price, for example. But I think pricing is also like a crazy topic at the moment. Like a lot of people are moving to outcome-based pricing. Um, One of our competitor, Alex Turnbull from Groove, he did this super funny thing at Saster where he had like hired two pandas and like 15 protesters or 16 protesters, and they had those picket signs saying, we don't want seat pricing anymore. Seat pricing is dead. We want outcome pricing. And that was fairly funny. Also reminded me of what I did at OMR, which you mentioned
Yeah.
earlier with I dressed up as a postman to like reflect our brand, and I handed out letters. Um, yeah, that was also a sounds good moment because I don't think anyone actually like turned out to be a customer out of this. But talking about the thing, like writing about the thing, got us customers, which is super funny. The thing in itself,
Yeah.
crickets, but like the action of speaking, like doing content marketing around it, actually brought us thing. I spoke to like 2 or 3 different podcasts just because I was noticed from that action. So it's really funny how
Mm.
like the byproduct of the thing is actually where the value is. Maybe if I was posting like a guide on Twitter about my cold emailing thing and saying, this is so smart, you should all do this, it would get like more return on investment as the actual
Exactly.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
I mean, I definitely want to talk to you a bit more on how to do this because
you
I'm
know.
launching my own thing and you know I don't know how to render HTML into an image. So,
Yeah, for
I mean
you, it would be
there's
great
Claude,
actually. Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
But yeah, okay. So I to be honest, what you said about the outcome being a byproduct of what you did with OMR. To be completely honest, I think OMR is not really a good
Yeah.
place for you guys. Not really a lot of ICP people are there for more of a show than kind of
Hmm.
picking up real tools. But that aside, I mean, that's just the vibe that I'm picking up lately is that people want to relate to you. People want to, you're talking to founders, right? And your ICP probably wants to know about, what worked and what didn't. This is what this podcast is for as well,
Yeah.
because people don't want the fluff anymore. There's so much of it. Oh my
Yeah.
god! Like, to be honest, being a host is a blessing in disguise, because I know the network, and I can see how on LinkedIn everything is flourishing, everyone is adopting AI, and everyone has a gazillion agents running their company. But on the back of my head, I know that this company's CEO cannot understand at this point anymore what's going on with the agents. So the
Mm-hmm.
company is actively dying. So I think, when you are honestly sharing what's happening, it's really, really cool. So I mean, I said no advice here, but I would actually write about your experiment and,
Right.
see how people respond, because I remember that was or maybe I'm mixing it up with something else, but I think it was kind of a thing back in like 2023, when people were sending screenshots of what your company would look like with us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was working. So it's like, everything has the right and the wrong timing. But talking about it, I think brand nowadays is the thing that's going to set you apart, because around all this fluff and I think people should just, invest in kind of special connection, and being out there and showing what they stand for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like if I look at my competitors, the two like main challengers to the incumbents are like Pylon and Plane. Those are the two that are really like fighting each other, and I'm just like looking with popcorn, like, hey, don't kill each other, or do if you want to, and we'll just get the crumbles. That's fine. Um, and both founders, they are like daily posting on LinkedIn and stuff. Like it's just like nonstop. And I think it's mostly the Pylon guy, Marty Caldas, that started this, and then the Plane founder had to respond and just like. And I'm almost thinking like, is there like a sense of adding to that voice again and again, like writing content? Also, it's really hard for me. It's not something that comes. It comes at a cost. Like I need 3 hours or so to write like something that I'm proud of and that I think is valuable for others to share.
After this episode, a bunch of ghostwriters are going to email you, Antoine. You
I do
do.
get those. I get those, yeah. But I'm also seeing some people that are using ghostwriters, and I'm like, oh, that looks wrong. Like it just feels wrong. They also they post so much, but it's very much clearly AI. Like blah blah blah, not this, not that. Oh, anyway,
It
and
stuck with me,
also
and
it
honestly,
yes, exactly. Um, and they never answer to comments, right? Like if you open the comments, like they're not even there because the ghostwriter doesn't have the ability, I guess, to answer the comments on the right. Like, it just feel off tone mostly. I don't want to criticize ghostwriter. I don't even care, but it's just that our brand is all about honestly transparency, like no bullshit, no like politics and fluff that I still want to have that human connection. And for me, when I have 8 hours a day to build, I don't want to spend 3 hours on LinkedIn, which is probably stupid, right? Like I might need to spend the 8 hours on LinkedIn actually. And that would be the thing to do. One thing I saw, and I was just writing my
do
co-founder about
shifts.
this, is yeah, exactly. Like we should maybe do, the marketing week and the founder week and the AI week and whatever. I know this was a thing like 1 or 2 years ago when the build in public people were doing this. And it makes sense to me because I think it's just a lot of context switching when you're a founder, and having like your brain turn into obsessing about that topic is just the only way to get it. So for example, I'm supposed to redo our marketing website for about 2 years now. And I'm only getting to it. I think I started 3 weeks ago, really spending the time. I have like the designs on Figma for 2 years. They're almost ready, but I never got to actually do it because you're fighting a fire. You're trying to onboard a new customer, migrate another one from like Help Scout to you. Then there's always that next thing. Um, and people are saying, well, I just have my AI agent handle this for me. But honestly, I haven't really found that to be true completely at the level of excellence that I'm expecting. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, developing situation. But I think, if we go back to that idea of marketing and distribution is king now, or much more than it was ever king before. I think it's spot on.
Yeah. So I'm launching my own thing, and uh, at first I was like, oh my god, but I could do like a version of it, vibe
Yeah.
coded, very simple. So I was a little bit mad at my co-founder because he's taking his time, he's reviewing the code and everything. I was like, man, this is way too long. Like this is not supposed to be that way. Because we have AI. Have you heard of AI? And at the end of the day, every time we review something that's AI written, he just goes, "That's shit. That's shit. That's shit." And now I realize, I do the same when I see an AI written article, post, whatever. I go,
Yeah.
"That's shit." And
And
this
people
is
are
like
doing that too. They are discounting your brand when they
every
see this,
time,
and they like start to
every time.
distrust you. I think at least I am doing this. It's like I have a couple of names in mind, which I will not say loud out here. But
Off record.
yeah, I just feel like once I get this red flag of it's AI written, I stop reading. And I'm pretty sure I'm
Yeah,
not the only person that has this like AI radar. And maybe the article was super interesting, but if you didn't take the time to really bring that human, like what makes you unique and that your style and your
mm,
tone, then who are you to ask me to take the time to read your piece? So I'm like,
yeah,
sorry, next. I think you need to be much smarter, much more like controversial. I think this is the time for Jason Fried, David Hannemeyer Hansen to shine, like with their kind of um, way to write and approach
yeah.
things. I think this is the history going to be made for them. But at the
True.
same time, they're also selling software, and so this is a difficult thing to do at the moment.
Let's see. Jason is coming to the podcast soon, so I'm gonna
Nice.
ask them how how it's going now. But okay,
Please.
I only have the last question for you, and I realized we talk about AI, we talk about work, we talk about SaaS all the time. What is there on the internet that is not SaaS that made you excited lately?
Hmm. Interesting. So I really like the the almost like the creative things, like the joke things that are getting out from people that were always creative, almost like artists, but they didn't have the technical skill to be able to output stuff. And so I remember seeing, it was quite a few months ago, but like someone playing Pong with two different browsers. So you had two browsers, Windows, and you could just like play Pong with them. Anyway, I thought it was super smart. Like those kind of things that are useless, completely like unproductive. There's no value rather than just being like performative art pieces. And I think those people, they usually were not the ones, with a few exceptions, of course, that had the technical skills to build that. But now that you can just converse with an AI coding agent, they are able to like achieve their vision, so to say. So that was definitely one. in terms of more like business that is not SaaS, that I was really like, I think anything in terms of services. So imagine me, I'm selling a SaaS to do customer support. But maybe what I should be selling instead is customer support done for you. And maybe there's a bit of AI, maybe there's a bit of humans, but it's all about like, we don't just give you a way to write on a Notion-like editor, like a nice knowledge base, help center kind of thing. We write it for you. And I think this kind of done for you thing is about to get bigger, in my opinion, because this is where you capture the value much more. And maybe it's like 99% written or helped with AI agents, but the people will say, do this for me. I want a perfect help center that deflect 10, 20% of my support volume. Okay, yeah, use us, like blah, 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 help center professionals.com. And I think this
Yeah.
is a model that you see more and more. Like I've seen SaaS adding professional services as an add-on to their thing, either for migration, onboarding, or like flywheel customer success, almost like being added on
Yeah.
top. So this is something that I think could be also like potentially a future where you recycle all the humans that are useless in your company in like adding value, being like this super plus plus superhuman customer success agents for your customers.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. I actually have a couple of founders coming on the podcast that are betting on that, and
Hmm.
I have no idea if it works or it doesn't, or how big of a chunk services are of the business. But subscribe and you'll see.
I'll be listening with a big open ear. Yeah, I think what's exciting for us as a small bootstrap company is that we could literally become a service company tomorrow. I don't see like why not. We have not much to lose either, right? So I think that's really also what I wanted to say about like, oh, it's amazing to be lean and not have to answer to a board of investors and stuff. Because at the moment, this like swift shifting into a direction is even more valuable than it was before. Um, Also, we're in a position where we have the solid foundation built and we can just like find the right pivot or like the right little thing, almost like a key to find product market fit and scale from this. We haven't found it, like completely honest, or we haven't found it at the scale that I would like to find it.
Mm,
But then I think having that ability or like the freedom to do what you want to do at the moment where a big technological shift happens, like a new model comes out and it's like, wow, or whatever,
yeah,
um, that's going to be key.
pretty great. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much. I mean, Antoine,
Thank
I
you.
had, I had someone ask me, wait, Antoine comes to your podcast all the time. Why do you interview him again? And they're like, he's French. you know, it's very opinionated, it's very honest. I like that.
Yeah, I'm
So,
like, I'm happy to come anytime. Like, just have me
uh,
weekly. No, I
that's the
honestly,
next podcast.
to be fair, and when we discussed about preparing for this, I was telling you like I don't know if I have anything to share, like anything valuable. And then we discussed a bit, and like, oh, this this is good. And
How
so
you frame
yeah,
it.
that was cool. But honestly, like the TLDR for everything is I have no idea what I'm doing, just like all of the others. And we're just trying things and like throwing spaghetti on the wall. Some will stick, hopefully. Um, but a lot of it will just end up in waste, just like all the side
All
project
the other
tokens
things in the
being
world.
wasted out there.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much, Antoine. That
Thank you,
sounded
Anna.
really good. So let's see what you have to say next year, I guess, back
Sure.
here.
Talk
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah. All right. Take care.
Bye.